Hey everybody. I thought I would do my one and only YouTube video on my 2019 Can-Am Maverick X3 Turbo R, which is one level from the very bottom. Um, this is a YouTube video for your average side-by-side owner, and by that I mean somebody who is cruising on fire roads, who's going out to Glamis and just kind of hitting the dunes and maybe doing some of the small jumps, but you're not out doing the big kicker at swing set. You're not out in Kentucky driving through 6 foot mud bogs. You're not racing. You're just cruising around with your buddies. Maybe some of them are fast, maybe some of them aren't. You're going from your campground to the shitter and back. Basic side by side guy. Maybe this is your first side by side. Certainly my first side by side. But I wanted to do a video kind of explaining what the average guy needs. So your average side by side guy, your kind of average mechanic. Um, you're going to spend about an average amount of money because unfortunately you have to spend some money on these things after you buy them. So if you're a super racer, you can just stop watching. If you're Kentucky mud bog guy, you can stop watching. If you're hitting the swing set jump at Glamis and clearing it, then there's nothing in this video that you don't already know. So for the rest of you, stick with me. I'm going to show you what I did to my car, and I'm going to show you the mods that I think fall into three different categories. And the first category is what I call the pissed off mods, because these are the ones that you have to do, and you probably be pissed off about it. Um, you spend a lot of money on these things, and as soon as you get them, there's just more money that you have to spend, and that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to show you the pissed off mods. Then I'll talk about some of the ones that I think were really helpful, and a lot of these are real easy and not too expensive. These are the things that you don't know you don't need, but you need them, or at least you'll get a lot of use out of them. And then lastly are the totally unnecessary mods. And this is the stuff that's just cool. You don't need it, and it's more money than your wife wants you to spend, but it's cool, so you probably do it. So here we go. So here's my car in all its glory, and as I said, I'm going to start off by showing you the mods that I think you have to do, as much as you're probably not going to want to do them. And I'll start with the most painful one first, and that is the gusset kit. So if you haven't heard about these gusset kits, you're just going to have to look them up and get it done. But basically what they do, it's this piece here, it's this piece here, it's this piece here. I went with CT Raceworks, and what these kits do is they just stiffen up the whole front end of these, because the front end of these Can-Ams is just junk. It's just thin metal, and they're just junk. Fine for just cruising around, but if you're going to drive the thing at all, you need to get a gusset kit. And they're easy to research. They're all about the same. They're going to cost you about 300 and something bucks, and they are a bitch to install. You really have to kind of know what you're doing. So I put this in the way above average mechanic category. I had a shop install mine for about 300 bucks. But you just got to do it. I don't know what else to tell you there. So that's the first one that you have to do. If you don't do it, you're just accepting the inevitable. The second one that is absolutely vital is you got to get a liner for these clutch housings. They're just plastic, and what happens is when you blow a belt, not if, but when you blow a belt, because you will, they have a tendency to blow a huge hole in the back of these, or the bottom of these plastic housings, and then you got problems. You got to take the clutches off, you got to replace the whole housing, and it's just gonna happen. So if you're driving around without one, you're tempting fate. There are essentially two different kinds. The first one is like a sheet metal sleeve that goes around inside the whole thing, and they're about $100. I think you got to drill them and use pop rivets and all this kind of nonsense, and I didn't want anything to do with that. So I went with the second version, which is about 300 bucks, and it's a one-piece carbon fiber sleeve. I'll see if I can add a picture of it. that you take off the cover and just slides right in. If you have the 72-inch wide version, then it will slide right in. I have the 64-inch wide version, so I had to take the bottom shock bolt out, slide the shock out of the way to make room for it to go in. But still, 10-minute job, and will save your clutch housing. And you know, if you don't want to spend 300 bucks, just do what I'm going to do. When I go to sell this car, I will slide that bad boy right out of there and put it on Craigslist for 200 bucks, and people will buy that thing all day. So effectively, you'll have spent the same 100 bucks as if you bought the crappy version. Or you can take it out and move it into your next car, because I don't think they're going to be changing these housings anytime soon. So that's the second one mod that you have to do. Let's see. The third mod that you have to do, at least if you're a cheap ass and you bought kind of one of the lower level cars like I did, is a 4-point harness. This version, the Turbo R and the one below that, come with just a single shoulder strap and lap belt. And if you've ever seen videos of cars rolling over with someone hanging half out of the window, they were probably using one of those. So you have to have a 4-point harness. You can pick them up. There's all different kinds for about 150 bucks maybe for some comfortable ones. Or you can spend some digits and get the same retractable 4-pointers that come with the higher level X3s. They come stock in almost all of the higher level versions. So these are really comfortable and easy to install. They're just 4 points where they bolt onto the seats. Super easy mod, kind of expensive if your car didn't come with them, but absolutely vital. I mean, I would put these in my car if I could. So those 3 are the things that you have to do. I'm going to say, worst case, you're looking at $300 for the gusset kit, $300 to install it, $500 for these. I mean, you're already at like $1,000, and $300 for the carbon fiber sleeve. So if you have a credit card your wife doesn't know about, I suggest using it. Next up are the mods that aren't necessary, but are, I think, useful. First up is a light bar. You know, if you're doing night riding, you know, the headlights on these things are okay, but you definitely going to want a little bit more light. So I suggest a light bar. I went with this one. I think it's from Tusk. Yeah, it is from Tusk. Got it off Rocky Mountain. It was like 140 bucks. Comes with the mount, goes right on the shock tower, and I'm telling you, it's plenty bright. I go out dooning with my buddies at night, and they have all these gigantic 50-inch light bars and lights on the mirrors and all that. I really don't think you need all that. I see plenty good with this little light bar and my headlights. So that's one I think is a good one to add. It's cheap, easy to do. And so far, 2 seasons on it, no problems. Next up is some kind of bumper. I don't, you know, depending on your riding style, I don't really think these gigantic ones that wrap all the way around the front of the car are really necessary. But I like this one, made by Lone Star for Can-Am. Just provides a little bit of protection if I stuff a dune too hard or I get brake checked by one of my buddies. I'd rather have something to hit his car with besides just the front of my car. I also like this one because unlike a lot of the bumpers that just kind of come up like here with no real support, this one, you poke a hole in the plastic, goes through, and then bolts in here to a factory spot that just provides a lot more, more stability and protection, in my opinion. So those are some useful mods on the front of the car. Moving back, you're going to want some mirrors. You can't see shit when you're driving these things. So you're definitely going to want some mirrors. And I say get good ones. I've seen people with some crappy ones and you're going down the road and they're bouncing all over the place, and you might as well not even have them because you can't see anything out of them. These ones are good. They're made by Dragonfire. They're metal. They're low profile mounts if you want to put a windshield on. And I just think that, you know, you put them on and you'll use them a lot more than you think you would. Um, most come with the roof, but if you're, again, cheap like me and buy one of the lower level cars, it doesn't come with the roof. I don't know, a couple $100, and it's just totally worth it. Plus, it gives you a good place to mount your spare belt. Well, while we're under here, got this little light. It's actually upside down for some reason, but little $20 dome light. Perfect amount of light. Can't really tell in the daytime, doesn't matter, but it's a great little light in a good spot. You can yank it off of there if you want to use it like a flashlight or to find some bolt you dropped. $20, handy gadget. Here, get this out of here. This is just to hold my antenna down so it doesn't hit the garage door. Spare tire rack. There are 1,000 different versions of these. I like this one. It's part of the Q-Link series of Can-Am stuff. So it's real nice, and it just tilts up out of the way if you want to get in your storage box or something like that. And just really sturdy. And there's other things you can mount to it that have the Q-Link locking system, and it's been fantastic. I love having it. Keeps the tire up out of the way so you can kind of see through the rearview mirror, etc. Now, the reason you would want to tilt it out of the way is so you can open your toolbox. So I do recommend having one of these. They make big giant ones. I can't open them both with one hand, but this is actually the roto-molded cooler version. I think was, I don't know, $300 maybe. Also locks down with the Q-Link locks. So super easy, super convenient. I use it mostly for tools and a couple beers, but handy dandy, because there's not a lot of storage in these things. So I like to have these cases. Speaking of storage, another good easy thing you'll want is door bags. Got one on this side, another one over there. Just a great place to store your phone and a hat and another couple beers. And, easy, cheap. You'll be glad you have them. My car only came with the quarter doors, which I know a lot of them do, and I wasn't about to spend $500 on new doors, but for $100 you can get these lower units, and it just kind of fills in that space nicely, provides a decent seal, doesn't add really any weight. I think makes the car look a little better, and just keeps a lot of dirt and dust from flying in under those quarter doors. So just seems sort of like a, you know, thing that they should have just come with already, but they don't. Let's see, anything else that I think you probably gonna want to have? A jack, another Tusk item, cheap, easy, and good. Let's see. I think that's probably about it. Next, we'll go with the mods that are just cool, that you don't necessarily need, but as long as your wife doesn't find out about them, you should be fine. Okay, now on to the cool mods. The first one, I think, I don't know, maybe this is not in the cool category. Maybe it's in the actually nice to have category. But the clutch air intake relocation kit. If you live outside of the People's Republic of California, you can drive these around without a helmet, and you hear that annoying clutch noise that comes right here out of this intake. So they have a kit. You can research them, easy to find. Comes with a block-off plate, block off that airway, some soundproof foam that you jam behind that, and a grill so that you can relocate the air intake onto the back of this box. Just cut a hole, slap on that grill, and that does a lot to reduce the cab noise that you get from the clutch air intake at about 5,000 RPM. There's a billion videos about people complaining about that. Now, this relocation kit does help with that. It's not what a lot of people hope for, but it does at least reduce the pitch of that wine to make it a little bit more bearable. But if you do this and then replace your stock air intake tubes, this one and this one, with these upgraded ones. I think the 2021s already come like this, so I think this is basically just the intake tubes from a 2021. It's a 15-minute job. These ones have this big insulated kind of expansion chamber here and here that have some kind of foam in there, whatever. But this really reduces that noise. It almost eliminates it. So between this and the intake relocation, you're looking at $160 maybe, and about an hour out of your weekend, and works great. Next, cool mod. I live in San Diego, so I don't need this at all, but I did it anyway. Is heated seats. The Tusk heated seat pads are like $40, and basically you pull your seats out, you pull the covers off, they self-adhere to the foam, and they stick good. It seems like you couldn't stick something to foam, but these just glom right on there. And run some wires out the back. You run them over to, you have to install 2 little switches right here, and then just wire it up like any other accessory, and they really do work. So I guess on those cold nights, if you really want to be a little bit more comfortable, you could have heated seats for $40. Next, I recommend a rugged radio and intercom system. If you're riding with your buddies, if somebody stalls, crashes, breaks down, or you just want to talk trash, it's great to have a radio to do that on, and you can always find a channel that doesn't have a whole lot of chatter on it. This system, I think when Rugged has their big sale, is like maybe $1,100. You get the radio and the intercoms, and you get a couple of helmet jacks for your intercoms. I just have them Velcroed right there. So you just take them, plug them into your helmet, and you can talk trash between you and your passenger all day. Or if you want to talk trash with everyone in the crew, you get a steering wheel radio button and another one down here on the death grip. So rugged radio. And if you're gonna do the radio, you might as well go all in and get the mounting kit that comes with it. It does require, taking a hacksaw to your brand new car and cutting out this whole center section, but it's worth it. You get a nice enclosure made out of metal. You just relocate your start button a little bit, and it's actually a really simple install. Other cool items that are absolutely unnecessary is the stereo. I went with the Rockford Fosgate Stage 4. Comes with this head unit and a nice enclosure that kind of matches the factory look. And then you also get these panels that come with it for the front speakers. And then you get 2 rear speakers that just mount right to the cage in the back. And the Stage 4 kit comes with one 10-inch subwoofer, down-firing subwoofer that goes into an enclosure that mounts under the seat, and it is on there. It's not going anywhere, so there's no rattling or shaking or anything like that. It's loud as hell. It sounds fantastic. I think it was $2,300. So maybe if you got a birthday or something coming up, you can ask for that. Let's see. Anything else I think you have to have that's cool? Well, this is, to me, one of these is a must-have. This is an ACR, satellite, GPS, whatever, personal locator beacon. You get stuck somewhere, you get lost, you break down in the middle of nowhere when you're by yourself, you're going to wish you had one of these. Basically, you flip the antenna up and push a button, and it sends a signal to whatever the appropriate rescue group is wherever you are. Or if you're in the middle of the ocean, they'll call the Navy, or if you're near the coast, they'll call the Coast Guard. If you're in the middle of the desert, they'll call the search and rescue people. You register these, you give them all your information so they know who they're looking for. They know what your vehicle looks like. They know, all the useful information so they can come find you. And they come find you for free. There's no membership with these. And believe it or not, when the Coast Guard comes to rescue you, that doesn't cost you a dime, unless you count all your taxes. So I think that's about it. Love this car. Don't have any real complaints. No weak points, except one that I just thought about. Okay, stay with me here. So one of the common failure points for these Can-Ams is right there. Right there. And that's the toe link, and it's what your center radius rod connects to. And it's one of those areas where you've got a steel bolt going through an aluminum hub, and eventually it just wallows out and you start getting like this death wobbly wheel. It's going to happen to all of them eventually. Shock Therapy provides this toe link kit. It's basically a sleeve. I'll see if I can add some pictures. A sleeve that goes through that hole. You have to drill it out, but they even give you the right drill bit to do that. And replaces that factory bolt with like a nice stainless steel sleeve that solves that problem for good. It was $100. It took about a half an hour to do both hubs. Again, average mechanical skill required. Basically, if you know how to use a drill and a torque wrench, you're going to be good. Oh, while we're on the topic of preventive maintenance, I suggest you get one of these. This is a wheel bearing grease tool that basically you pop your wheels off, you pop your hub off, you jam this doodad in there, and it's got a Zerk fitting, and you grease your wheel bearings. You Google Can-Am X3 wheel bearings, and you'll find that these come from the factory with like no grease in them almost. And they will eventually heat up, and one of your wheels will eventually fall off. This is in the maintenance manual, so it says you got to do it every so often, but I think you got to do it as soon as you buy the car. This was maybe $30 on Amazon, and one of the most useful gadgets I've come across in a while. The last thing I'm going to show you is what I prefer for sand. Again, I'm in San Diego. We live near Glamis. I go out to the sand all the time. These tires will be worthless out there, but I'm going to show you some ones that I picked that are amazing out there. Just a second. Okay, welcome to my attic. These are, my God, I don't even remember who makes them now. But, oh, yeah, System 3 Off-Road SS360s. And they just came out, I think, in 2020. But these are the best sand tires in the world, in my opinion. As you can see, they've got kind of maybe short, not even maybe 3/4 inch, half-inch kind of mini paddles on them, but they're on all 4 tires. So you run the car in 4-wheel with these on, and you will never get stuck, basically. And I think also the car works a lot less hard. When I'm out there with smoothies on front and paddles in the back with my buddies, man, they're just nailing it to get up some of these dunes. And with these, I swear, you just drive right up it like normal. You get a lot of traction. So if you like to slide around, then these might not be the tires for you. These do get a tremendous amount of traction, especially when cornering. So I think this is what all rental side-by-sides in the desert should come with, because it just makes driving so much more pleasurable, in my opinion, out there. And I don't remember, I don't know, I got some bead locks. Maybe this entire setup was $1,500. But like any other good sand tire setup, if you decide you get sick of going out to the sand, you put them on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and these will get snatched up for almost what you paid. Anyway, System 3 SS360s, highly recommend. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that video or at least learned something. Like I said, average rider, average kind of mechanical skill. I have kind of an average budget for stuff like this. It's not a cheap hobby at all, but you can you can do it without breaking the bank. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that I've showed, I think these are kind of clean, tasteful, useful mods for these cars. If you have any questions, happy to answer them or go into detail on what it was like to install any of it. I didn't do installation videos because there's a billion of them already out there, and I watch them and to to figure out how to do it myself. So if any of these items interest you, go ahead and find a video on it. I'm just here to tell you what I like. Everything that I've done to this car, I like, I use. It has not broken down. I haven't really had any issues with any of them. And I'm just really happy. So I hope you find that information useful. If you buy or research one item from this video, let it be the personal locator beacon. I was turned on to these a while ago by a buddy, and I can't tell you how much safer I feel carrying that thing. I take it out when we take the boat out. I take it out when we take the jet skis out. I take them out when we take the dirt bikes out. I've carried them on hikes because you don't have to be far. You slip and break your ankle in the middle of nowhere and you don't have cell service. You push a button, someone will come get you and they'll know exactly where you are. We've come across people out in the middle of the desert that were hurt, and all their buddies are scrambling, looking at each other, trying to figure out what to do, or someone's going to drive an hour back to camp to get help. This eliminates all that. You push a button, they come get you. So that's it. I hope you're having fun out there. Be safe. I don't think there's any need to spend a ton of money, but again, there's some stuff that is totally worth it. The harnesses, totally worth it. That's a safety item. The front end gusset kit, suck it up. You just have to do it. If you don't do it, you'll have much bigger problems later. And the clutch housing sleeve, shame on Can-Am for making those necessary, but they are. Other than that, the rest is just fun, good times. Take care, folks.